so this is one suggestion for something you can do at the beginning of the semester, and that is send a welcome email to students. So I did say that we might have to work a little bit harder to create that engagement and to foster interaction. Sending an email to students at the beginning of the semester to welcome them might be one strategy you want to implement. We have examples here. You don't necessarily have to start creating from scratch. These examples might inspire you, and then of course you'll want to tailor it to your particular teaching context. One of the nice things about this is that you can actually program some string, like you can put a string into your emails in My Courses such that every email is addressed individually to the student. So there's a little bit of programming code here. It's very simple to do in My Courses, and the result will be, if you do first name, for example, that every student will receive the email with Dear and their first name. So that's kind of a nice touch. It's something fairly simple to do, and it will make students potentially feel much more welcome in your course and you know, like they're really somebody in the course. Okay, so that's one strategy. Another strategy I wanted to show you is in My Courses Essentials. So everybody who is assigned to teach a course at McGill has a My Courses site. And My Courses Essentials is a self-paced tutorial that TLS has put together for instructors, and every instructor should be enrolled in this. So this is a tutorial for instructors. This is not for your students. Everybody should be enrolled in this. If you're not, I'm just trying to think about the most efficient way to go about this. I guess let me know. Actually, no, don't let me know. What I'm going to do is share something with Nicole so that she lets you know what to do if you are not enrolled, because there's no point in me getting a whole bunch of emails. So I will let Nicole know. Okay, but what I wanted, the strategy, what I want to point out here is that you could create a profile. And I'm circling it here with my mouse. This one has TLS. You can put your face here, an image of yourself here. And you can put some information about your research interests, about your teaching interests. Even if you want to put something personal about yourself, you could do that. And the instructions for how to do that are in, I think they're in interaction. Let me just see. I checked this before the webinar, but there's so much going on that I don't trust myself to have remembered all of these things. We have profile here, personal, no, so it's not. It's in course setup. So under course setup, we have creating your profile. It's not complicated to do, and all the instructions are available in this My Courses Essentials. So here are the different things that you can do. Keep it short, sweet. Relate your bio to your course topics. That might be a nice thing to do, like talk about why you're interested in the course that you're teaching to motivate students as well. And then we have step-by-step instructions, and there's a video here. Okay, so those are two things that you can do to engage students even before the course starts. And you can make your My Courses site available to students even before the first day of classes. So some instructors don't know that. They think that it's only available the day courses start. No, there is a setting in there. I'm not going to go through that now, but just know that you are able to make your My Courses site available to students at a date of your choosing. Okay, so now I'm going to go on to a couple of things that you can do during the class. So you might want to have an icebreaker. And something that we used recently in a webinar with students and instructors was the question, what's your favorite pandemic snack food? And it seemed like such a mundane question, but people really got into it. They liked it a lot, and you know, use that one, use another one, but it's not heavy, and it also speaks to the current situation. So it lets students know that you recognize something out of the ordinary is going on. You know, we can't just ignore it. There is something out of the ordinary, so maybe you can connect with them that way. something, I was hoping to use the whiteboard, but it seems I don't have access to the whiteboard. So I'm just going to tell you that you have a whiteboard in Zoom. You can draw on the whiteboard, and you can also type on the whiteboard. And if you're having students use the chat, so when we have this question, what's your favorite pandemic snack food? We said type your responses in the chat. Ask students to use the @ symbol and then the name if they want to address somebody in the chat. So that's a convention that's used. So it's the @ symbol plus name. So now if well, maybe I can just demonstrate that actually. If I do chat, I don't know how you've set up chat. Yeah, so I mean, I could just type in here @Nicole and I do hi. So this has gone out to everybody. Everybody sees it, but I'm writing to Nicole. I don't want to write to her privately. I want everybody to see what I'm saying, but it's addressed to her. So that's a way to sort of manage the chat if you put a question in there and people want to respond to each other. Okay, I'm coming back to the web. I wanted to, I think just 2 more things to show you. Every instructor who's assigned to teach a course receives the Focus on Teaching e-bulletin. We send this out usually the 1st and the 15th of the month. Our schedule is a little bit more erratic now because we have communiques we want to share with instructors sooner than every 2 weeks. But I wanted to point out this one from April 15th. We have every 2 weeks, we've got tips for teaching remotely, reading the room in Zoom. That is very difficult because not all students will have their videos on, and they shouldn't. Not everybody should be compelled to. But that makes it hard for us as instructors to communicate with our students because we're missing all the visual cues. Students have access to feedback icons. So I'm just going to click on that. So there are different ways students can communicate with you. And I'm going to scroll down. There are these icons, which you have access to right now in Zoom. And you can teach students to use those to communicate with you and with the class. So that's just another way. And students like using icons. That's something they're quite familiar with. So that's the nonverbal communication in Zoom. And I'll say one last thing, polling. Many of you will know polling. Turning Point is the tool that McGill supports. You can use this in Zoom. No change. If you're using slides, you can still do polling and have that kind of interaction with your students in Zoom.